Hi, it's Vanessa again. In this second video, I wanted to give you some background into what led up to me being so sick over the last 2 years. As the title of the channel suggests, I have lymphedema, chronic venous insufficiency. All of that started going back to a horseback riding accident when I was 20. I didn't break anything, so I never went to the doctor, but I was still injured without knowing it. My spine was in pretty bad alignment afterwards, which really stresses the muscles and the connective tissues from being in a position they're not supposed to be in and trying to figure out how to function. So as the misalignment got worse over time and the dysfunction in the body got worse, I went from having a really pretty active lifestyle to a pretty sedentary one. Because I lost range of motion, I lost flexibility, I lost the capability to do certain things. And over time, I went from waiting tables 16 hours a day while I was in school and walking the entirety of the campus to not being able to stand up unaided, not being able to walk without assistance. I had a series of kind of minor soft tissue injuries and a handful of pretty major injuries, all as a result of the initial horseback riding accident and never having sought medical help. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. So when the pandemic hit in 2020, that's when I ended up just doing massage therapy instead of my other lines of income as well. And I became even more sedentary. So the problem with that is the way we move fluid from the lower body to the upper body is through the movement of muscles. And the heart is not strong enough for most people to get that fluid because of gravity from the lower body to the upper body. So we have what we call the second heart, the soleus muscles in the calf muscles, in the calves. So that when you are walking, the muscle movements are helping to move that fluid back up north. And the more sedentary you are, the less that fluid gets moved. And over time, that can cause the valves in the veins, which ensure that blood only goes in one direction. It can cause them to fail, and fluid can pool in the lower body, chronic venous insufficiency. As far as the lymphatic system goes, you get lymphedema when your lymphatic system, which is also moved through the movement of muscles, because the lymphatic system doesn't have its own pump the way the circulatory system does. The lymphatic system, the fluid moves through vessels the same way the circulatory system does, but it's the muscles around those vessels that are responsible for moving all of the lymph in the body. The lymphatic system is like the janitorial system of the body. It goes through and it carts away viruses, bacteria, fungi, cellular waste, all kinds of things. And eventually that is carried up and eliminated through the kidneys and the bladder. If your lymphatic system is not working properly, you are not getting rid of all that trash and microbes. I did not have lymphedema until around 2014. I fell and damaged part of my shin on the left leg, and it left a hard lump that stayed there for years. Before that point, never had an issue. After that, if I were on long car trips, the ankle would swell. But I get to my destination, put my legs up, fluid would come off. Over time, however, as I became more sedentary, that fluid wouldn't come off anymore. and it just stayed. I didn't have an issue with the right leg, though, until around 2018 or 2019. So 2018 is when I started noticing that the left ankle wouldn't go down anymore. 2018, left leg. 2019, the right leg started having issues as well because I slipped in the shower, injured my right hip. Again, no insurance, didn't go to the doctor, didn't have diagnostics, but I was on a crutch for 3 months before I weaned myself onto a cane. And I became even more sedentary. And when you're sedentary, you lose strength. So as I started having to use walking aids, which impedes your gait even more, it makes certain muscles weaker, the right leg began to swell as well. Right ankle began to swell as well. So that technically would be when I had lymphedema bilaterally, both sides. I could still get up and move around as long as I had a crutch or a cane. But then I tore something in my left knee in 2021, and the one strong side that I had now had its problems. And I became a fall risk. So I had x-rays done on my neck and lower back 2 or 3 times over the years. And by 2017, my neck was what they call military neck. It was straight. By 2022, the curve in my neck was backwards. And this all goes back to that horseback riding accident, though I didn't know it. I looked for Groupons for chiropractors' offices because they would often offer adjustments and x-rays for a ridiculously low price. So in 2017, that's how I found out about my neck. In 2022, I got another set, and that's what showed the neck being backwards. The reason I went was because I was just in constant pain, and I wanted to try and find relief somehow. So the chiropractor asked me if I had been in a bad car wreck maybe 20 years earlier, and I said no, but I had been thrown from a galloping horse. And he said, okay, what I'm seeing in your x-rays is undiagnosed and untreated whiplash over the span of decades. So he was the reason I got health insurance. Because if you go to a chiropractor, a good one, you can reverse some chronic conditions, but it takes adjustments 2 or 3 times a week over a prolonged period. Because the muscles have gotten so used to being in that dysfunction position that it takes time to get rid of that, to undo that tension so that the body can start working more properly. So because of him, I looked to see what insurance he took, and I got on the marketplace and found insurance that because of the, I'm not trying to get into politics, this is just my story, because of the enhanced subsidies that the Biden administration added, I was able to actually get insurance, and it was good insurance. And it allowed me to see him 2 to 3 times a week until my neck was a lot better and closer to the natural curve that it should have had, except that there's arthritis in my neck. There's arthritis in my lower back, my hips, both SI joints, left knee, and funny enough, left foot. But because of him, I was able to get insurance, and he was able to do a lot for me. In 2023 was when I first started seeing him. I re-upped my insurance for 2024. So I started getting sick, and everything that led up to me almost dying. The roots of it go all the way back to that horseback riding accident when I was 20. More immediately, the roots of me being so sick go to Thanksgiving of 2023. This video has gone on way longer than I planned because I can ramble sometimes. So I'm going to stop this here, and I'll start the third video with everything starting with Thanksgiving of 2023. Thanks.